About 6 months ago, we personally interviewed Kalofox. He apologized to us and promised he would change his behavior and become a better person. Shortly afterward, Kalofox released a video where he apologized and admitted that every single allegation against him is true. This was the point at which the drama effectively ended, or so we thought. It has nearly been 6 months since then. This has been more than enough time for him to change, more than enough time for us all to step away from the situation and forget about it, but Kalofox, despite his promises, has not changed at all. In fact, he has gotten even worse. For everyone who is unaware, I'll give you a quick rundown of everything important up until this point. 9 months ago, we released our first expose on Kalofox, where we detailed how he's an extremely weird person who exposes his underage audience to softcore porn and sexual material constantly, and ran a Discord server rampant with corruption where him and his mods would use slurs and tell people to kill themselves. After we released this, Kalofox decided to dox, hack, and DDoS me, or well, attempt to. We eventually found out about this from Toothless, and we knew we needed to do something about it. We started investigating, which was when we dug up evidence that Kalofox drew hardcore porn and softcore porn of several minors, including his own fans. All of which we talked about in the previous expose that we also released a document alongside. Soon afterward, on August 17th, 2024, we finally interviewed Kalofox personally, where he apologized to us and promised he would change his behavior and become a better person. The day afterward, Kalofox released a video titled Admitting to the Allegations, where he apologized and admitted that every allegation against him is true.
Every allegation that was placed on me is true.
This essentially marked the end of the drama. However, as we said at the start of the video, Kalofox has gotten only worse since then.
A little while after we released our second expose, we learned that Kalofox cheated on his girlfriend again, making it the 3rd time he's cheated on her. She had decided she'd had enough, and she broke up with him. Around roughly January 28th, 2025, Kalofox made an extremely out-of-pocket joke in his server, which I'll elaborate on in a second, and as a result, 2 of Kalofox's trusted staff left him and cut ties with him. Rafsan Rafi, who was Kalofox's co-owner, and Rafsan Rafi's girlfriend, Ameh. After Rafsan Rafi and Ameh left, 6 more staff members left. According to Rafsan Rafi, most of Kalofox's staff didn't even care about Kalofox and were only in Kalofox's server because they had a couple friends there, Rafsan Rafi included. So when he left, they went with him as well. Now, the actual out-of-pocket joke in question, Kalofox pinged his actual father in the chat and asked him, quote, "Dad, are you proud if I make good money drawing lesbian furry porn?" And because of this, Rafsan Rafi and Ameh left Kalo's server and created their own server, which would become mostly inhabited by other people who had also gotten sick of Kalofox.
A day later, on January 29th, 2025, Kalofox's server was raided, where all the channels were vandalized and photos of pornographic drawings that Kalofox drew were posted. Kalo deleted the server shortly afterward, and a few more people cut ties with him, making a total of at least 10 Kalofox staff members that cut ties with Kalofox. From what we know, this is nearly all of his staff. Almost his entire staff team got so sick of him that they all left him.
Roughly a day later, on January 30th, 2025, Kalofox uploaded a video explaining what happened to his server. One particularly important person, a collaborator and friend of Kalofox, commented the following: "I saw and watched everything happen. I'm sorry dude, but you need to change. I can't collab with you anymore. And due to these issues and your mistakes, I can no longer associate my channel and brand with you. And one last thing, your girlfriend left you, your friends left you, your community left you. The last to go is your channel if you fuck up again. Do not fail us this time. Your career and whatever chance of you getting your friends back depends on it."
Roughly 3 days later, on February 2nd, 2025, Kalofox made a new Discord server, and this is where things get really vile. Since the creation of his new Discord server, I have been spectating and documenting everything. First of all, we need to establish that, yes, Kalofox's server is still mainly underage. Showcased on the screen is an image of the age rolls in Kalofox's server as of this script's recording. Keep in mind that there are likely even more minors than this in the server, as it's likely some minors won't want to disclose their age or simply don't care about rolls. You may notice that there is no 18+ role, and this is because the server most likely requires manual verification. And as we are about to discuss, there are some truly disgusting adults that inhabit Kalofox's community. I will now introduce you to Mother Foxo, who I'll just refer to as Foxo from now on. An 18-year-old adult who joined Kalofox's server and immediately started posting their fetish porn. Posted softcore porn of their persona and acting like a complete weirdo fetishist, all while acknowledging that the server is full of minors. In fact, I did a little bit of digging and found Foxo's Twitter. And to absolutely no one's surprise, it's packed to the brim with hundreds of pieces of this guy's disgusting furry fetish porn. You can literally scroll for minutes and it just keeps going.
Now, Kalofox cannot act like he didn't know Foxo was like this, because apart from Foxo posting all of this in public channels, Foxo was literally made a staff member, presumably by Kalo. Kalo knew this person was an adult. Kalo knew this person was posting fetish porn and acting like a weirdo in a server full of minors, and yet he did nothing about it. Now, here's the thing, Foxo is not in Kalofox's server anymore, and it is not because he was banned. In fact, what happened was that someone was telling off Foxo for posting NSFW, and then that said someone ended up becoming staff, which caused Foxo to go into a mental breakdown in the chat and leave. That's how absolutely pathetic some of these people are, and shows how incompetent and uncaring Kalofox is as a server owner, that he let an absolutely degenerate adult like Foxo into his server in the first place, let alone allowing him to be a moderator.
I think it's time we talk about some of the most disgusting things we've ever uncovered about Kalofox. On February 19th, 2025, we contacted Kalo's server director, asking him to get us in a group chat with Kalo, so we could talk to him about some things that have been bothering us for a long time. Now, to understand what we're talking about, we have to look at some of the evidence from our document and the second expose. Specifically, the evidence about Dome. So, Dome was essentially Kalofox's codename for the project, where he hired several people to doxx, hack, and DDoS me, among other things. As I mentioned at the start of the video, if we take a look at the Dome evidence, we can see that Dome happened around May 1st, 2024, and that on July 17th, 2024. Kalofox admitted to Dome in his server and said he regretted the decision of doing it. This is extremely important, keep this in mind. So, when we got in this group with Kalo, we asked him to tell us the truth about two things that have been bothering us for a long time. One, what happened in the Dome group chat after Kalo released his Pitch Fucker video on July 20th, 2024? And two, why did Kalo have a porn photo album with cup porn and porn in it? Now, if you don't know what porn is, it's furry porn. And if you don't know what porn is, it's drawn bestiality porn, aka zoophilia. Kalo at first dodged both questions. We kept pressing him, especially on the fact that we knew Lola had pressed him over Dome already.
Instead of pressing him further, we told him to try and find his DMs with Lola so he could show us exactly what we wanted to know. He sent this screenshot, which is interesting, but too vague by itself, so we told him to scroll up and show us the rest of it. In response, he sent a video where he scrolled through his entire DMs with Lola. We will now play this video on the screen. So in these DMs we can see Lola and Kalofox going back and forth talking about Dome, Lola telling him to calm down and let go of the situation, and Kalofox telling Lola that it was them who provoked him first and that he's going to deal something far worse than what they did. Later on, Kalofox reveals who they is, saying Asdun, Pingu, Toothless, before saying, man, fuck them, they revealed a lot about me, so it's my turn. These DMs clearly show Kalofox in a state of rage, wanting to do something horrible to me, Asdun, and Toothless.
Remember a minute ago when I told you to keep in mind that Dome happened around May 1st, 2024, and then on July 17th, 2024, he had admitted to Dome in his server, and he said he regretted it? Well, if you take a look at these DMs, we can see the date clear as day. And there it is, July 19th, 2024. This means that even even after Kalofox already did Dome and already admitted to Dome and said he regretted it, that he was still seeking revenge and planning on doing it again. The fact that this is the truth here is fucking insane. I really did think that maybe Kalofox would have been smart enough to not do Dome again even after we found out about it. I really did think that maybe he did actually genuinely regret Dome. Maybe he did regret conspiring with several people to hack, doxx, and DDoS me. But no, we have proof right here that he not only did he still hold hate towards me, ghietro and toothless, but he was planning on doing Dome again. This straight up resembles the behavior of a psychopath. May I remind the audience that the reason why Kalofox hates me and ghietro, and the reason why this entire situation even started in the first place, was because me and ghietro expressed genuine, well-thought concerns over the safety and well-being of minors inside Kalo's community and the corruption of his staff team. Anyway, continuing on, we asked Kalo this. So you admit that you planned on doing something against Toothless/Asdune/me out of rage, and you also admit that there were and feral photos in your Google album? To which Kalo replied with this. Never admitted to having and if I did, I would have known, but because I was younger, I didn't know, and out of suicide thoughts. I was either 13 or 14, and I didn't know what feral meant until someone told me. Also, during the time, I was getting used to being a furry. So, I replied with, when I was getting used to being a furry, I didn't masturbate to and save porn. Now, we're gonna need a little bit of context for what we're about to talk about. Essentially, Kalo would share this porn album around with a small amount of people, mostly his friends, and a few months ago we found out about it from Toothless and some other people who had found out about it. After finding out about it, we confronted Kalo about it and told Kalo to delete the album, and he acted clueless for a minute before deleting it. Keep this in mind. Anyway, back to the conversation. ghietro replied with, that is an excuse to be a degenerate on your own volition, but okay. To which Kalo replied, no, motherfucker, I was groomed back then and I didn't know until later. No one knows what happened to me when I was 13 and 14. I replied, I was groomed too, and I never did this shit. Now, if it isn't already obvious, Kalofox is trying to sugarcoat this situation. Grooming is a very real and very damaging thing, and if it's true that Kalofox was groomed, like he describes, then that could have been the reason why he started getting into porn. However, we have an extremely solid reason to doubt Kalo's story. As we just said, Kalo never deleted the porn album and never deleted the feral until we discovered it and told him to. You would think that if he was truly groomed so badly to the point of getting into feral and he would have deleted it by now. You would think that he would have deleted the entire porn album immediately after recovering from getting groomed instead of deleting it several years later only when confronted. Anyway, ghietro replied with an extremely valid concern, asking, why didn't you delete the album or at least get rid of the feral/no I told you to? Kalo replied, it was already late as shit when Toothless told you, and I didn't even know I had it all because all of it was new and Anthro. So I asked Kalo, were you manipulated into jerking off to porn? To which Kalo replied, just saving the pics, not jerking off to it. We replied, why would you be manipulated into saving porn but not jerking off to it? That makes no sense. Kalo replied, because to me, it didn't make sense. Saving them, okay? So I asked Kalo a simple question. So you saved porn? Kalo replied to me, I thought it was Anthro. I replied, yes or no, I can't tell. Kalo just kept beating around the bush, so I told him to stop beating around the bush and give me a straight answer. Kalo replied saying, if I say no, you'll think I'm lying, but if I say yes, and you didn't actually listen to what I said before, you're gonna think I'm a zoophile like Toothless. So I said, come on man, you're not as bad as Toothless. To which Kalo replied saying, one small problem. Actually, I don't know, but I'll say yes because of my younger self not knowing what it was until later. Which I believe is Kalofox saying that he thinks he's worse than Toothless because of his past. I really just wanted a straight answer, so I asked him one last time. Did you save porn? To which Kalo replies, yeah. Just don't fucking beat me around with something my past did to me. I'm scared of what you or him will do. Now I just want to clarify, this entire section of the video is not me trying to downplay grooming or victim blame him for getting groomed or anything like that. I know with first-hand experience what being groomed is like, and if Kalofox was really groomed to the point of saving and porn, that's horrible. But, as we already stated, we have an extremely solid reason to believe that Kalo isn't being 100% honest about this, otherwise we would not be talking about this. Let's talk about something no one else wants to talk about. Ivory was a 19-year-old adult in Kalofox's old and current server. who, despite being a moderator, did not moderate at all and would only post horny stuff in the chat. Some other stuff they did include talking about cat penis and horse semen in the chat, telling people to suck their tits, asking minors about what they'd smash, publicly sexually harassing 16-year-old Kalofox at the age of 19 turning 20, ERPing with people and moaning in front of minors, ERPing with a 16-year-old, and sending porn to minors. Even after all of this, this person was still allowed in Kalofox's current server until he was eventually banned by Folsom. And might I also add, to this day, Kalofox is still in contact with Ivory and still talks to them. So, I must ask Kalofox's staff team and Kalofox himself personally. What drugs are you on to let a zoophile pedophile creep have moderator and act like this in your server for months straight, and then come back to your new one with no consequences until it was finally banned by one of the few competent people in your team? Even your server director admitted to me that the moderators have no idea what the fuck they're doing. May I also mention that Kaiji, who was a zoophile and an incest fetishist, was also let into Kalofox's server and is still in it. A fucking zoophile and incest fetishist is allowed inside of Kalofox's server. I shouldn't have to remind the audience that when you're a content creator, you're responsible for the overall behavior of the community. Kalo shouldn't be expected to be constantly moderating and monitoring his server, but that doesn't mean that he should sit back and relax and watch while minors are getting groomed and while predators and weirdos infest his server. On February 15th, 2025, we asked Kalofox why he used to distribute Amber Alert, which, for everyone who was unaware, Amber Alert is a video that exclusively features only videos and pictures of children and babies getting murdered and tortured. Kalofox's excuse was that he was 14 or 15 and quote-unquote wanted to investigate the video, but even if it was 2 or 3 years ago, it really makes you question what kind of person he is. Kalofox is a content creator and should not ever be sharing this kind of content with his community in the first place, let alone child and baby gore.
Later that day, Kalofox's server director made this announcement in his server. At everyone, I'm going to repeat this again. Do not make sexual jokes or remarks, especially remarks towards the fucking minors. I will ban you so fast if you make sexual marks towards minors. I don't care if you're a minor or an adult. Don't fucking do it. This is common sense. Notice how he says, I'm going to repeat this again, meaning that this is the second time he's had to make an announcement like this. The fact that he's had to make not one, but 2 statements telling people to not make sexual remarks towards minors is concerning. I think it's extremely reasonable to question just what the fuck is going on in Kalofox's community that is allowing this kind of behavior to repeatedly happen. This just proves that Kalofox's community was always a grooming hotspot and still is, and we're about to show a prime example of exactly what we're talking about. On February 16th, 2025, there was a conversation in Kalofox's server where several minors were talking about each other's thighs and femboy thighs and posting images of thighs. I don't think I need to explain why this is a fucking problem.
Later that day, someone posted this. A sexually suggestive drawing of Kalofox's persona. Now, some important context is that the server director made an announcement, stating that busty furry MILFs are no longer allowed, and it is no longer allowed to make sexual drawings of Kalofox's persona because he is underage. Now, this announcement is important for something I'm about to talk about in a minute, so keep this in mind. But anyway, Kalo saw this drawing, and what did he proceed to do? He proceeded to personally condone and approve of it. Kalo's server director ended up telling him off for this, and said he turns 18 soon, so people can wait. This type of mindset really pisses me off. If you're one of those gooners or artists that foams over the mouth knowing that you can goon to Kalofox's persona and make porn of his persona as soon as he turns 18, you need some fucking help. This kind of mindset is weird as fuck and borderline pedophilic. Imagine if someone was publicly talking about how much they want to marry some kid as soon as the kid becomes an adult. It's just fucking weird. You don't do that. And if you're one of those people that are like that, you need some serious help. But anyway, I was talking to the server director about how the server is still disgusting and still has softcore porn. And he replied saying that he's enforcing the ban on busty furry MILFs and sent a screenshot of the announcement. Now, this picture doesn't seem very interesting at first. However, if you take a look at the left side of your screen, you'll see something pretty alarming. A channel called The Gooning Room. One called YIF servers and one called NSFW memes. I noticed this and pressed him on it, to which he replied saying that it is for an upcoming plan Kalo has for when he turns 18, where 18 plus members will have access to NSFW memes. He then said that Kalo plans to make a GIF server when he turns 18. I think this just goes to show that Kalofox really has not changed. If you're in Kalofox's shoes and you were exposed for your weird and abusive behavior several times, all of your staff and friends and girlfriend left you for your abhorrent behavior, and you decided you wanted to change, you would be mentally insane to think, yeah, let's make a furry porn server. That definitely isn't a terrible idea. On the topic of Kalofox's server director, it just so happens that he manages several NSFW servers. This is a bit of a red flag, Kalo. Why did you choose specifically this guy? And why is a guy who manages NSFW servers managing a server full of kids? Just to make sure we're all on the same page, I'll give you a quick history lesson. Back when we made our first expose on Kalofox, our primary issue with him is that he was exposing his underage community to NSFW and sexual content constantly. Because they were both NSFW and minors coexisting in his community, we gave him an ultimatum. Either A, he removes all NSFW and sexual content from his server and channel, or B, he removes all minors from his server. We referred to our ultimatum as our demands. Kalofox told us that he was leaning more towards demand A, as it was easier than removing more than half of his community and implementing a reliable age verification system. We've already proved his server and community is filthy, so let's take a look at Kalo's channel and see if he's changed it for the better. Yeah, I think it's safe to say it's not great. Yet again, I literally cannot show any of this uncensored, but 90% of these shorts here are extremely sexual and fetishistic, and if I showed any of it, I'd probably get striked or banned.
Another thing about Kalofox is that he was a pokerphile, and well, it's kind of obvious what I'm about to say. He still is a pokerphile. Now, if you don't realize why pokophilia is bad, pokophilia is the attraction to Pokemon. Now, imagine for a second if people were obsessing over some minor and sexualizing them. If they were drawing and depicting this minor as an adult with huge breasts and unrealistic body proportions, those people are fucking vile and deserve to be investigated. It's basically pedophilia. That is why pokophilia is wrong, because if you are sexualizing a character that is literally an animal, and looks like an animal, and acts like an animal, you are essentially saying to some degree that you're attracted to that animal.
To conclude, Kalofox is still an irresponsible server owner who made his girlfriend, friends, and almost all of his staff abandon him. He's still a pokerphile, still doesn't follow his own rules, still acts like a racist towards his fans. In fact, I even told him to stop saying a faggot around me because I'm a homosexual, and told him the world doesn't revolve around him. And he replied by saying, neither does it around you, faggot. He still hasn't been honest and in-depth about all of the allegations, still hosts fetishistic and sexual content in his server and on his channel, still draws and posts softcore porn for his entire underage audience to see, and still allows pedophiles and weird adults in his server. Kalo has had so many people try to help him to change. He has repeatedly been given many chances to change, even we have personally gave him a chance and tried to help him change and work with him, and over the past 6 months that we left him alone, he has not changed at all. I don't think it takes a genius to assess this situation and realize that till Kalofox steps away from the internet and seriously changes his life and behavior for real this time, he is deserving of all criticism that comes his way.